Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Lawmaker asked McCain to talk with 9/11 theorist. This state professor there at a university is in day 17 of his hunger strike, calling for McCain to meet with him for a couple hours and talk about 9/11 being an inside job with Professor Stephen Jones of physics and, of course, head of architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, Richard Gage. Senator Karen Johnson, thank you for coming on with us.
Oh, you bet, Alex. It's my pleasure. I'm standing here right behind Blair, who is truly one of my heroes.
Tell us basically what's happening.
Well, Senator McCain has received all the information. He's got the DVD of Richard Gage. He's got information from Blair, and that has been given to him. The staff here at McCain's office here in Phoenix has validated that McCain now has all this information, and that the request to be able to have Blair speak with him, even if it's only an hour. I mean, Blair is certainly willing to take that if that's what he could get, and have Stephen Jones and Richard Gage come and speak with McCain. They've had that now for a couple of days, and Blair has not received an answer yet. He is still hoping today to get some kind of an answer. They know that this is day 17. Blair is getting very weak, but he's very courageous. I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to continue this, but that's where we're at right now, waiting for a response from Senator McCain, who actually does have all the information. I mean, in my opinion, 9/11 is the catalyst for all of these issues that have happened, since then. Our loss of freedoms and liberties pertaining to our Constitution and the Bill of Rights, Homeland Security, Patriot Act, loss of habeas corpus, the spying on us, the North American Union, Real ID, the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, the debacle of the dollar. All of this has come. There were things in the works beforehand, but this was the catalyst.
Senator Johnson, any other key points you'd like to add?
Well, yesterday on the floor, I don't know if you're aware, but Blair came down to the Senate, and he was up in the gallery with many. There probably were about 30 9/11 truthers with him, and they held him up. They literally supported him on each side as we introduced him to the senators on the floor there at the Senate, and we gave, just a short speech about 9/11 and why we felt it was so important, and I was happy to be able to do that. We practically had a press blackout here in the Phoenix area on that. There was nothing in the papers today, with any of the papers about this.
All right, well, check in with us in the days as this develops, Senator Johnson, and we commend you for getting the word out every way you can. In your area, if all of us do similar things, there's no way this cover-up and this mass murder is going to continue. If we don't, the people that committed the attacks are going to use them to totally overturn our way of life and turn us into a New World Order police state. Senator, thank you for spending time with us, and thanks for going out to get Blair Gadsby support.
And God bless you for what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you so much. There goes Senator Karen Johnson popping in with us from the side of Blair Gadsby.
Last month, I started speaking publicly regarding my concerns about the attacks of September 11th, 2001, which brought down the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, as well as Building 7. If you've watched the media coverage since I first began to speak out, you know how vicious and irrational it has been towards me. The media have worked hard to try to make it seem silly to even question the 9/11 Commission report, even though some of its own authors have done so, including both of the Commission co-chairmen, Mr. Hamilton and Keene. Actually, the 9/11 Commission report represents just one theory, the theory that fire and the damage from the airplane impacts brought down the 3 buildings. This theory explains none of the features of the destruction that we all witnessed that day, and which we can still observe on hundreds of videos. It explains nothing about how in 4 of 4 cases, no hijacking code was transmitted by the hijacked airliners. And in 4 of 4 cases, no fighter jets managed to get alongside any of the hijacked airliners. The military officers who lied to Congress about their failure to protect America would have been referred for prosecution by some of the 9/11 commissioners, but those commissioners were told that they did not have that authority. The events of that day were a heinous crime. They were against our nation and our citizens, and the sense of justice that exists in each of us demands to know what really happened and how all the perpetrators will be caught and punished. The speculation and theorizing won't end until a thorough, transparent investigation, free of conflicts of interest, takes place. Among the many theories that you can find on the internet is one that rises above all the rest. It is rock solid, confirmed by hard evidence, and supported by hundreds of scholars, architects, engineers, and other professionals who have the education, training, and expertise to know what they're talking about. This is the theory that explosive demolitions brought down the Twin Towers and Building 7. I've placed a handout on each of your desks inside of the manila folder. And that has a photo of one of the towers as it begins to collapse. I'd like you to take a look at that photo, if you will. Notice in that picture that you see steel beams being flung outward from the building and great huge clouds of dust that is actually pulverized concrete. A building that falls down doesn't pulverize itself into dust as it drops. Imagine dropping a chunk of concrete 30 feet or more. Is it going to fall into dust? No. Yet the concrete in the towers was blasted into powder that covered all of Manhattan. Think about this now. You can see that powder already being formed long before that upper section has fallen more than a few floors. As you look at that photo, ask yourself, is this a picture of a building collapsing, or is this a picture of a building exploding? Does a building that collapses have the ability to fling its own steel beams sideways up to 600 feet? Does a building that is just starting to collapse blast its contents outwards in a massive cloud of dust? What do you see in the photo? I see an explosion, and so do millions of other people who are demanding a real investigation. More important than simply looking at a photo, engineers, architects, and scientists have evaluated the rubble at ground zero and other aspects of the buildings, and they have found evidence of at least 15 different characteristics of explosion. These 15 characteristics are listed on the handout as well. The public wants its leaders to stand up and be counted when it appears that something is wrong. The truth will set you free. Blair Gadsby and my guests today want the truth about 9/11. The American people want the truth about 9/11. They want an independent investigation, and so do I. I have provided each of you with a DVD entitled Improbable Collapse. I'm hopeful that you will watch it with an open mind, and that you'll also study some of the wonderful, well-researched articles on the internet. I've included a list of the most credible websites with your handout. You don't have to embrace every theory about 9/11. Indeed, there are some that should be soundly rejected. But if you believe, as these scientists, architects, and engineers do, that the buildings were brought down by explosive demolition, then you must also agree that we need a new independent investigation. I have no preconceived notions about who did it, and I'm not pointing the finger of blame at anyone, but I do think that the worst attack on U.S. soil in American history deserves the best investigation possible. And that is not going to happen until people like us begin to speak out. The families of the nearly 3,000 people who died on September 11th, and the families of those who have been poisoned and died from the toxic residue that hung in the air for weeks afterward during the cleanup operation, they deserve to know what killed their loved ones. If anyone else was involved in the planning and implementation of these attacks, then they need to be brought to justice.
The loss of our freedoms and liberties through the Patriot Act, Homeland Security, loss of habeas corpus, posse comitatus. We've got the North American Union that has sprung out of this, was already in the works, but this has given impetus to it. We've got the Real ID. All of these types of things that are taking away our freedoms and liberties and denigrating the Constitution and the Bill of Rights have come from 9/11. So I think maybe the American people need to know who was really behind it.